that he looked like much. And anyway, I don't know how this started, but I was going to talk about the crazy rumors that have arisen about the Paracast. I don't know if it's our fame and fortune. Maybe our fame because there is no fortune. But one rumor has it that there's a cabal of millionaires in our forums who finances me.
Wow. Well, how come I'm not on the payroll? What's up with that?
Unfortunately, they're a little over 5 years late with the payments. Okay? So we've been on over 5 years, no payments.
Oh, man.
Where do they come up with this stuff?
I hope that's not a trend.
Oh, well, we have to pay the rent,
We should get a
folks.
donation button for the co-host. Let's do that. Here's a co-host donation button. I like that idea.
You build it, I'll post it. The only thing is you'll get probably 100 times more cash than I do.
Well, there's one way to find out, Gene.
Okay, well, it's up to you, my friend. Go ahead and we'll have the co-host donation button. When my son and I first started doing the Tech Night Owl Live, he was my co-host. We called it Garage Radio because we were just sitting in my bedroom, not a garage because too much echoing. So it was
Right.
bedroom, like the second bedroom was my office. And we'd sit there and we'd do the show.
No.
Garage radio. So this is, I guess we could call garage radio. Except it's very common now. A lot of the talk shows are not done anymore from studios. They're done from the home of the talent.
Art Bell was famous for doing a show, in the Power Room trailer.
Sure. Exactly. He started a trend. So instead of renting an elaborate studio, I equipped my home office with microphones and other gear, and now I'm not even using the mixer. I'm using this Yeti microphone because the name is Yeti. It has the paranormal aspect to it.
Yeah, I like that.
So anyway, back to the rumors. There are wacky people out there who say the craziest things, and I don't want to say anything about particular people. Some people I think are well-meaning. Other people I think are just fools, and there's a book out there that someone wrote called You Can't Argue with Idiots.
Gene, it's when they get pissy. That's when it really kind of starts to rub you the wrong way. When they're pissy and inconsequential with not only where they're coming from, but where they think they're going to. It's like a waste of time. And quite frankly, I'm flattered that someone would have a problem with the fact that the show's getting successful and people are listening and taking notice, and oh well.
So what happens then is you have people who find something to criticize. And if there isn't anything to criticize, they'll make up something. The problem is with something like that is you draw more attention to us, folks. As long as you spell our names right, more and more people hear about the Paracast, and when someone says, don't listen to that show, people decide, hey, we should listen to it because we want to find out what they don't want us to listen to.
Oh, good point. A little reverse psychology. So maybe this is all part of some weird Illuminati sort of PR campaign.
Well, there was this other radio show, this podcast, where the person was saying how we constantly criticized him on the Paracast. The problem is we never mention him on the Paracast. I guess he was looking for a fight, hoping we would.
Either that or he was in some alternate dimension where we actually did mention him on the Paracast.
Well, you have this TV show. You don't watch TV, so you haven't seen it, called Fringe. And Fringe is kind of a modern-day X-Files.
Well, I do watch Fringe. No, let me correct you here. Sure. No, I do Hulu Fringe. I like Fringe. I like J.J. Abrams, so I think he's quite brilliant.
And after all, how many people can get Leonard Nimoy out of retirement?
Yeah, but he's dead. William Bell has passed on to the other side, I guess literally. And
I know if you're not a Fringe listener, you have no idea what we're talking about. Briefly, there are two realities involved here. There is our reality and the other reality, and the lead character, one of the lead characters, finds a way to go to this other reality to save his dying son. Well, he doesn't save his dying son. He just takes the other counterpart and kidnaps the kid and brings him over.
That starts a rent in the fabric of reality, and the other alternate universe is starting to get wormholes, and these weird sort of anomalies are appearing.
But you notice how it's rooted in this basic paranormal concept of another universe. What would happen if we had the second universe? And what would happen to the fabric of reality if we found a way to travel back and forth to that other universe?
Well, I think our guest tonight may have some answers for us on how they travel in this reality in a way that most of our listeners could possibly, well, have a hard time believing. Richard Sauter, he's an amazing guy. We're going to have fun tonight.
I'll tell you. And it's his fault that we had to get up in the wee hours of the morning and do this show.
Right. Yeah, he's down in Ecuador.
Oh, is he?
He is.
Wow.
He's Ecuadorian. He has left the U.S. of A.
Well, there may be reasons for that. You know,
we're going to talk about all that, aren't we?
Are the taxes lower down there?
Yeah, and probably the price of bananas is pretty low too. But
well, as long as I have a local Apple store. No, there are no Apple stores in South America, are there?
No, but they have mangoes and papayas and pineapples and coconuts.
First off, if you have a question or a comment to make about the Paracast, we want to hear from you. Just send your messages to news@theparacast.com. That's news@theparacast.com. We read every letter we get, and we make every effort we can to respond to your comments or criticisms or something in between. And we have Richard Sauter coming up next on
The Paracast.
Jacques Vallée, Bud Hopkins, Brad Steiger, Nick Redfern, Lauren Coleman. You'll find classic and new books by these and many other authors at Anomalous Books, the #1 publisher of 14 books on the planet. They specialize in books on UFOs and aliens, Bigfoot and cryptozoology, parapsychology and the paranormal, as well as alternative history, all of which makes Anomalous Books simply phenomenal. Check out their catalog at anomalousbooks.com. That's ANOMALIST books.com.
Again, the Congressional Budget Office sounds the alarm. This time warns of Greek-style U.S. debt crises. You heard me right. The GAO is drawing a parallel between the U.S. economy, its debt, and the current Greek economic meltdown. With the debt-to-GDP chart climbing into unfamiliar territory, the growing budget deficit will rise to unsupportable levels. Hi, this is Ted Anderson. The Federal Debt and Risk of Financial Crises document the CBO has published is a must-read for every American, covering the risk of continued deficit spending coupled with an aging population and the rising interest rates spell economic disaster. It's imperative that you get a copy of this document and study it for yourself. Call me today at 800-686-2237 and I'll send you a free copy. Again, call 800-686-2237 and ask for your copy of the CBO document. Once again, you need to read this government report. Call 800-686-2237.
Alex has told you about the terrible perfect storm of rising food prices. The Japanese tragedy proves how important food is. Our own gas prices are driving food costs through the roof. The huge population countries are buying up American unprotected exports of food. The falling dollar is inflating food prices. Ethanol subsidies are driving fuel and food costs to all-time highs. We are experiencing the greatest explosion of food shortages and food prices America has ever seen. Folks, you have to freeze the cost and availability of your food now. Through March 31st, eFoods Direct has free shipping on all orders. You can freeze the cost and availability of your food and have it shipped free. Call 800-409-5633 on the web efoodsdirect.com/Alex. Free shipping ends March 31st. 800-409-5633 on the web efoodsdirect.com/Alex.
Did you know that drinking pure, high-alkaline water is one of the most important factors in maintaining high energy and vibrant health? Most experts agree that the water you drink should be at a pH level of 8 or higher. AlkaVision Plasma pH Drops, available only at alkavision.com, combine a unique formula of only the most alkaline minerals. AlkaVision Plasma pH Drops alkalize your water, ridding the body of harmful toxins, and helps you regain health and energy. Alkalizing your water by simply adding 10 drops of AlkaVision Plasma pH Drops helps the body rid itself of acidic waste, increases oxygen content, and raises the pH of your body to healthy levels. And bacteria and viruses cannot survive in an alkaline high pH environment. Order your bottle of AlkaVision Plasma pH drops for only $29.95 at alkavision.com. That's ALKAvision.com. Or call 269-409-1776. 269-409-1776. Alkalize your body. Supercharge your health at alkavision.com today.
The GCN Radio Network, providing the world with hard-hitting talk radio. GCN. Great talk radio starts here.
We want to hear from you. If you have a comment or question about the Paracast, send it to news@theparacast.com. That's news@theparacast.com. And don't forget to visit our famous Paracast community forums at forum.theparacast.com. Get in on all the action at forum.theparacast.com.
We return, and our guest is far, far away, maybe in another galaxy or an underground chamber. We don't know where, so we're going to get some weird interference with this connection. I'm Gene Steinberg. The co-host is Chris O'Brien. You're in the Paracast. Chris, introduce our special guest, please.
Dr. Richard Sauter, it's been 6 or 7 years since we talked. It's really good to talk to you. A lot has gone on in your life in the last couple of years. And for our guests who aren't aware of who you are, I had the pleasure of finding out about your work very early on, back in the early 90s. And I consider you to be one of our preeminent, if not the preeminent expert on the whole subject of underground bases and underwater facilities that probably exist out there in the black world and in the very public world as well. And I consider you one of the most meticulous and just impressively, you blow my mind with your research and how much you've documented your work. You're very careful about stating what you know and what we know and what we don't know, and you're not one to fly off and create confabulations based on your data. I think you approach it from a very grounded, very sober perspective. And it's a real pleasure for us to get you on the Paracast. And we're talking at 3 a.m. in your time in Ecuador. And I really want to thank you so much for staying up late and taking the time to, allow us to introduce you to our Paracast audience. So welcome, Richard.
Thank you so much, Chris and Gene. It's my pleasure to be on the broadcast. You rightly observe, Chris, that a lot has happened in intervening several years since we have last seen each other. And my goodness, just in the last week, we've had this terrific catastrophe in Japan with first with the earthquake, then the tsunami, and now
with the radiation,
nuclear crisis that just seems to get worse with every passing day. Of course, the United States and France and England began to another war against Libya.
Richard, just let me put this in perspective. The show is being recorded
down the road.
About a week ahead of the time it's actually going to be broadcast. Yep. So we are looking at events that may have unfolded in a somewhat different way after this. So let's just put that in perspective, okay?
What we can say at this point is that we're really facing multiple crises, natural crises, foreign policy crises, economic crises, and these are likely to continue and, in my view, worsen in the coming days, weeks, and months. The Earth stands poised at a very eventful threshold, and the human race really has a decision or multiple decisions to make at this juncture as to how we're going to govern our affairs now and going forward, and that will determine our future, the character of our future in coming years and decades. This is a very crucial period.
Well, Richard, as someone that has now a doctorate in studying ecology and the environment, I'm not exactly sure what your doctorate is in the specific discipline, but I do know that you're very, very up to speed on environmental concerns and ecology. What what does this recent multiple nuclear reactor fiasco? What does that? How does that bode for? The 400 or 500 nuclear reactors that we have here on the planet, and do you see this as a harbinger of future events potentially? I mean, what does this new ratcheting up of ecological concerns around specifically nuclear power? I mean, what does this? What kind of alarm bells ring in your mind, or are there any alarm bells?
Well, sure, there are alarm bells ringing, and this is absolutely a watershed event. Dr. Helen Caldicott, who has been a very active anti-nuclear campaigner for the last, 30 years or more, has said the same, that this is a global catastrophe, and it may be that the human race needs a wake-up call like this in order to see the absolute insanity of nuclear weapons, nuclear weapons and nuclear power plants, and the fact that we just can't handle this. It's a technology that the human race has demonstrated again and again that it's not wise enough, not savvy enough to deal with. And so it looks like there will be a global movement against so-called nuclear power, and probably also against nuclear weapons in the coming weeks, months, and years. Of course, I've been a nuclear activist in the past myself. I've 3 times during the course of my life gone on to nuclear missile silos in the United States, and I have conducted nonviolent, peaceful demonstrations on the launch lids of nuclear missile silos, for which I have been repeatedly jailed, including this past year in the state of North Dakota. My expectation is that there will be many more people who will be awakened to the danger of nuclear weapons and nuclear power as we go deeper into this year.
Richard, just let me ask you, is that why you're in Ecuador? Because they're looking for you here? Maybe I'm being half serious.
No, I'm not in South America because I'm being looked for in the United States. I came down here on a vacation and on a vision quest, and decided to stay. After I was here 2 or 3 weeks, I decided to stay. I saw no reason to return. I, in effect, have come to regard the United States government as a great evil and a source of tremendous trouble and oppression in the world. I no longer desired to physically reside in the United States, and so I have elected not to return, and it's possible that I will not come back to the United States for a very long time. It is my intention to remain in South America for the foreseeable future.
All right. The main focus, of course, I guess we're going to cover for this episode is your investigation to what they call underground bases. And I was looking here in doing research about you that some books that you've come out with, including Hidden in Plain Sight Beyond the X-Files. So when we talk about underground bases, and we're going to continue with this with our next segment, are we speaking here of military bases that they have for whatever reason, they do things underground? Or are we talking about bases from other beings, either from here or from other planets, that kind of thing? That's one of the things we want to cover. A reminder, folks, if you want to contact us here at the Paracast, send your letters by email, news@theparacast.com, news@theparacast.com. What I can say is that we read each and every message, and we respond to most of them, and if I can't respond, I'll let Chris do it. Let Chris do all the work. That's what a co-host is for. I'm Gene Steinberg. You're in
The Paracast.
Ray Perkins, a reclusive veteran burned out from the Gulf War, lives tortured by relentless, perplexing nightmares. Nightmares of a horrific battle in deep space and of a mysterious woman suffering in agony for her devastated world. A woman not yet born, calling across centuries to him. Then, a coincidence leads him to his destiny, his chance to alter the universe. Attack of the Rockoids. The former fiction editor for Star Wars and Indiana Jones, Robert Simpson, writes, "The soul of the novel Attack of the Rockoids lies in its heart and passion for building a convincing tale of a love that spans the galaxy. A thrilling story. Attack of the Rockoids is available now. Read a sample chapter and get a special discount off of the cover price at our website, rockoids.com. That's ROCKOIDS.com. Attack of the Rockoids, a novel in the grand science fiction tradition.
The food storage industry leader has done it again. Introducing FDG Clubs and Survival Bucks from the Freeze Dry Guy. For over 39 years, the Freeze Dry Guy has served various government agencies and the private sector with the finest in storable foods and emergency rations. If you've wanted to build emergency food supplies but couldn't afford it, now you can. Go to freezedryguy.com, click on products, and look for the Freeze Dry Guy Clubs to pay as you go. Now you can build food storage without going into debt. Choose from a payment range of $95 to $450 per month. Our clubs work with everyone's budget. Plus, when you join Freeze Dry Guy Clubs, you'll get additional rewards. For example, this month, get 10% back in Survival Bucks on all purchases in the Freeze Dry Guy product line, plus free shipping within the lower 48 states on any order amount. Hurry, go to freezedryguy.com or call 866-404-3663. That's freezedryguy.com or call 866-404-3663. The Freeze Dry Guy, the best you can buy. We all know that Berkey water purification systems are the most trusted name in water filtration. As an authorized Berkey dealer for over 5 years and serving thousands of satisfied customers, the Berkey Guy offers amazing specials for Berkey water filtration systems. The Berkey Light systems include a set of self-sterilizing and recleanable black purification elements that purify water by removing chlorine, pathogenic bacteria, cysts, and parasites to non-detectable levels and remove harmful chemicals such as herbicides and pesticides. Order the Berkey Light System today, complete with 2 black Berkey elements for only $220. And the Berkey Guy will include 3 sport Berkey water bottles and ship everything to you free of charge. That's right, 3 sport Berkey water bottles and free shipping. An $87 value, yours free. Call the Berkey Guy at 1-877-886-3653. That's 1-877-886-3653. Or order online at goberkey.com. That's goberkey.com today.
It's the winter cold and flu supplement sale at herbalhealer.com. Take advantage of Herbal Healer Academy's incredible savings on the best cold and flu supplements available. Many of you know elderberry is exceptional against viral infections. Right now, Herbal Healer Academy has Elderberry Power, regularly priced at $16.95, now incredibly low at only $10 for 60 vegetarian caps. For children and seniors, our Herbal Healer Academy Flu Away Elderberry Liquid is only $13 for a 4-ounce bottle. Also on super sale, olive leaf capsules, oregano oil plus capsules, and our incredible Respirate formula, Oregacillin Physician Strength capsules for your lungs. Normally $34.95, now just $25. Hit the winter specials link at herbalhealer.com for these cold and flu supplement specials and other on-sale products like apple cider vinegar, brain power, and neuro recovery. New customers get a free catalog with your first order. Log on and hit the winter specials now at herbalhealer.com.
America's #1 source for independent talk radio for over a decade. We are the GCN Radio Network.
Hello, this is Rosemary Ellen Guiley, and you're listening to the Paracast, the gold standard of paranormal radio.
We return. I'm Gene Steinberg. The co-host is Chris O'Brien. You're in the Paracast. Dr. Richard Sauter is our guest, and I posed the question, when we talk about underground bases, where are these bases sourced? Who are they peopled by? Tell us.
Well, there are there's more than one kind of underground base, and certainly the military, the United States military, and other militaries have underground bases. But it's not only the military agencies that are active underground. They are, but it's not only them that you will find underground. There are a wide variety of agencies and organizations and corporations that have made underground facilities of all kinds. In fact, it's important to understand that an underground facility or base can be and frequently would be multi-purpose. Some of the things that you would find underground, of course, would be weapons systems, both weapons storage and active weapons systems deployment. These could be nuclear weapon systems and other sorts as well. You could find and do find scientific and engineering installations underground. Of course, there would be industrial facilities of various kinds. Also, command, control, and communications facilities, both military and non-military. There are facilities that store data, or that would have computer systems, including supercomputing systems underground, transportation facilities, power generation facilities, and on and on. There are many different kinds of facilities underground, and of course, they can be and frequently are quite large. I've run across references to facilities able to accommodate 2,000 personnel or more. They can and do in many cases sprawl for miles underground. They can be quite deep. And when I say deep, I'm not talking just about hundreds of feet underground or even thousands of feet. In some cases, they can be a mile or more underground. So when I say deep, I mean they can be extraordinarily deep. The technology that's deployed in some of these facilities is just cutting edge. It can be very sophisticated, virtually sci-fi-like, science fiction-like. And of course, many of these facilities would be, if not clandestine and very secretive, very highly secure, so that the average member of the public would find it very difficult to get in a lot of these facilities. Number one, because their whereabouts are not always publicly known. But even if they are publicly known, you don't just walk in, because the security level is usually very high and designed to thwart just casual people with casual curiosity from just walking in off the street, so to speak. It's very hard to do that.
One of the things that has always impressed me about your research, and one thing that stuck with me for many years, was your admonition to a conference audience back, I think, in '96. You challenged the audience to go out and find from any appropriations bill, and I do seem to remember that you combed through many years of congressional appropriation bills looking for funding that could possibly explain how they were able to afford and where the money came to build these at least 130, I think, facilities, if not more by now. Have you ever been able to find any sort of documentation of how many of these? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, sure. From various sources, you can find some dribs and drabs of information, but understand that quite a lot of this, the lion's share of this type of work, at least as regards United States government facilities and or corporate facilities, Fortune 500, for example, that the lion's share of this construction and the maintenance is done off the public record. So when you go looking in publicly available budget documentation, for example, you will find very little in the way of a smoking gun, because so much of it is classified or not even classified. It's done totally in the black world, so that there are no in terms of finding appropriations, records in appropriations bills, for example, you won't find much, if anything. But I have documented in my conference talks and other articles and books things like, for example, Bill Goley's book from 20 or 30 years ago entitled Breaking Cover. And Bill Goley worked in the military office in the White House for 4 or 5 administrations, starting way back in the end of the Eisenhower administration and going all the way up into the Carter administration. And, I think he actually started in the Johnson administration. But what Bill Gulley, G-U-L-L-E-Y, revealed was that already starting in the 50s under Eisenhower, there was a concerted program to make underground facilities for the president's use, and there were scores of these made during that period, all the way starting back in the 50s. I think there were something like 70 of them made. So beginning back in the 50s, and actually my research shows before, there was a ongoing program of construction of state-of-the-art underground bases, and that continues to the present day. Now, the military office in the White House is something that's virtually under the president's control and his discretion alone. It's top secret. That you really wouldn't find any funding information for it on the public record because it's off the books, so to speak. And Gulley, in fact, made a point of demonstrating that even if you were to go to look, the most dedicated spy, forensic accounting spy, for example, would have difficulty finding the funding trail for this because it's so artfully and deceitfully hidden that even if you knew what you were doing, it would be hard to find it. So quite a lot of this construction is completely off the books and can't be found by the average member of the public, and even by someone who has expertise in forensic accounting. Even then, you wouldn't be able to find it. So we have been snookered, we have been lied to, and we have our collective pockets have been picked. That's the long and the short of it.
So the big question here is, what purpose do these mysterious, unaccounted for bases serve?
Well, and what we can say is they serve at least the purposes that I cited a few minutes ago, but likely far more. My research indicates that there are secret weapons programs underground, certainly also secret engineering programs of various sorts, which would likely include genetic engineering, also cutting-edge research in material science, in supercomputing, in weapons research, in energy research. And I strongly suspect that organized crime has underground facilities and is active in them. And to get around to your question of a few minutes ago, the evidence strongly points in the direction of off-planet intelligences and civilizations interacting underground on this planet as well, including with very secretive elements of the military-industrial espionage complex, both underground and undersea. And evidently this has been going on for at least the past half century and perhaps more.
All right, so let's try to strip the fact from the fancy and how, yes, we could possibly figure out how to prove this and how you discovered this. What evidence led you to believe that these bases exist? A lot more to cover. If you have a question or a comment to make about the Paracast, we want to hear from you. Just send your messages to news@theparacast.com. That's news@theparacast.com. Dr. Richard Sauter is our guest. I'm Gene Steinberg. The co-host is Chris O'Brien. You're in
the Paracast.
Graphic Converter is the image manipulation tool for the rest of us. It does not use any database. You get full control of all your files. Want to view the images of a folder? Drag it into Graphic Converter, and a powerful browser opens up to show your image files. You could use it for slideshows. You could use it to import images from digital cameras or from scanners. Need to do some image editing? You can do that too in Graphic Converter. Also print catalogs. Convert from so many formats I can't even list them. Download now to see if Graphic Converter is good for you, like 1.5 million other users. Guess what? You could save money when you buy Graphic Converter. Use the coupon code NIGHTOWL. Use the coupon code NIGHTOWL to get a special price for Graphic Converter. Go to lemkesoft.com. That's LEMKE soft.com. lemkesoft.com. LEMKE soft.com.
Are you still a traditional smoker? Now experience a new lifestyle and try vaping with e-cigarettes by LeSig. Imagine no ashes, stains, nasty smell, or coughing and hacking. With LeSig e-cigarettes' revolutionary microelectronic technology, rechargeable battery, and unique replaceable cartridge, you'll get all the benefits and satisfaction of smoking without the hazards. Choose your taste from a wide variety of our new American-made vape-free e-liquids at LeSig.com. And LeSig smokes the competition by serving thousands of worldwide customers with real people customer service, fast, free, same-day shipping, and a 30-day warranty and satisfaction guarantee. So are you ready for a new vaping lifestyle? Then call 870-518-4307. That's 870-518-4307. Or visit LeSig.com, spelled LECIG.com. LeSig e-cigarettes for today's modern smoker.
There's mounting evidence suggesting that there are people, governments, corporations, and whole professions intent on short-circuiting humanity's well-being. GMO, food legislation protecting big agriculture, the attempted elimination of vitamins and alternative medicines, it seems their hand has been tipped. They want to dictate your health, wealth, and your longevity. Whatever the outcome, we have a solution. Wild edible food. Why worry about food when all has been provided? We imagine that we were ejected from the garden and never invited back, but the garden's still here. There is an endless wild abundance which grows all over our green earth, just waiting for you to wake up and see it. Let author Linda Runyon teach you how to see, know, get, prepare, store, and eat wild edible food. Save money, add nutrition, and ignore the noise when you go shopping in nature's supermarket. Go to ofthefield.com and get started today. Or call 1-888-51-EAT-FREE. That's ofthefield.com or call 1-888-51-EAT-FREE and begin to see a different world.
9 years, thousands of clients worldwide, amazing results. And here's more proof of the effectiveness of how Heart and Body Extract supports good circulation and healthy arterial flow.
My name is Crystal. I'm a 45-year-old and live in Houston, Texas. I was diagnosed with having mitral valve prolapse 10 years ago. My cardiologist said surgery and drugs was the only thing he could offer me.
What did Crystal do?
I ordered Heart and Body Extract in August 2006. When I first took my first 15 drops, I embraced the formula and could even feel the goodness of the formula starting to work.
Clean, clear arteries are happy arteries after using Heart and Body Extract. Learn more at hbextract.com or call 866-295-5305. That's hbextract.com or call 866-295-5305. HB Extract comes with a 100% ironclad money-back guarantee. Details at hbextract.com or call 866-295-5305 for Heart and Body Extract.
Are you tired of searching for great talk radio?
Something more important.
Search no more. We are the GCN Radio Network.
You're in the Paracast. You never know what's going to happen next.
On the Paracast with Gene Steinberg and Chris O'Brien, we have Dr. Richard Sauter. He has a number of books on the subject of secret underground bases, including Hidden in Plain Sight, Beyond the X-Files, which, by the way, has a foreword by our old friend Richard Dolan. So, very interesting there. Okay, Richard, so the big question is here, how did you discover the existence of these bases? Where's the proof? How do we find it if it's being kept such a big, dark secret?
Well, first, Gene, let's talk about Richard's motivation to get involved in all this. That story is one of the most compelling stories I've ever heard from a fellow researcher.
Okay, well, I like backstories, so let's have your backstory. Tell us how you got dragged into this.
Well, back in the late 1980s, I moved out to the Southwest to continue my graduate studies and studies for a doctorate, which I did obtain after several years of very hard work. But when I first arrived in the Southwest in New Mexico, I heard people whom I had met, casual acquaintances, speaking about purported secret underground bases and tunnels in that region of North America where there were purported little gray aliens working, side by side allegedly with clandestine elements of the United States military. And I found these stories very interesting. I had no way to disprove or prove them, but I listened to what people had to say. And after a few years went by, I had a break in my schedule, in my academic schedule, and I decided to look into this and find out if there were really secret underground bases. Well, what I found out opened my eyes. I found out, yeah, there are a good many underground bases all over the country. I wasn't able to determine if there were little gray aliens in these bases, but I established to my satisfaction that indeed there were plenty of underground bases, and I did that by just doing basic research. I went to the library and read books and articles and documents, just using keyword searches. In those days, almost 20 years ago, there were still paper card catalogs that you went through, and there were paper cards, and then you went to the stacks in the library and you found documents and books, and you read what was there, which is what I did. Nowadays, most libraries have online catalogs, and you search electronically, so you can search much faster now than you could 15 or 20 years ago. But that's what I did, and I found a good bit of information, and so I wrote a short article for UFO magazine in Los Angeles, run by Don Ecker and Vicki Cooper, and they published my little brief article saying that I couldn't answer the question as to whether there were little gray aliens underground in these bases, but in fact there were a good number. And there are a good number of underground bases run by a variety of agencies and organizations, United States military, but others as well. It's not just the military underground, they are underground too.
Okay, so you're looking up information in libraries that appear to point to the existence of these bases. But this is something that I guess has eluded everyone else, the media, everything?
Pardon me?
I'm trying to understand how this comes to you, but nobody else seems to have found the existence of these bases. We've heard rumors, of course, of these bases, but where do you see the hidden information? How is it, as they say in that book, hidden in plain sight for everyone to find? Why would they do that? Wouldn't they want to keep it to a point where nobody can find out what these things are, what these bases are, where they're located, unless they have the need to know?
Well, let me finish. You see, that's a short question, but the answer is much longer than the question. So if you'll let me continue speaking as we go along, you'll see. So I documented quite a few underground bases just from the public record. There are a fair number of them that are publicly known. And so I wrote this short article, and they published it in UFO magazine. It appeared in the first week of November in 1992, 19 years ago now. So at that point, I had the feeling that I had been there and done that I had exhausted the topic. Well, less than 2 months later, over the holidays in 1992, I was sleeping soundly one night in the week between Christmas and New Year's, when I was suddenly awakened from a very sound sleep, and all of a sudden I was laying there on my back in the dark in my apartment in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I was suddenly very relaxed, very wide awake, very alert, and wondering why that was the case. Well, I didn't have to wonder long, because suddenly I heard a very clear voice in my ear, just as if someone had put the earpiece from a transistor radio or a similar small electronic device in my ear. And suddenly I heard a voice from out of nowhere speak to me in my inner ear directly, and the voice addressed me, and I'll never forget what the voice said to me. It said, "The underground bases are real." Now that's a dramatic opening line. It grabbed my attention immediately. Now from the beginning, from the first second, split second literally, I never had any question as to what was happening. I understood immediately why the voice was speaking to me. I understood that the voice was was that of an adult Caucasian male speaking normally accented late 20th century English. It was the voice of a university-educated adult male. And I understood immediately that he had some direct knowledge of underground bases. I understand immediately he was speaking to me using some electronic means that permitted him to transmit his voice into my inner ear or into my auditory cortex. And I understand he was using something like a brain transmitter, if you will. And
now, that's starting to sound like Richard Shaver, Richard Shaver and his tell-all grays, if you remember that story.
Well, yes, but yes and no. This voice then went on to tell me that there are many underground bases and there are many people working in them, that the technology being used in them is sophisticated and advanced, that there are large projects and programs being carried out that the average person does not suspect even exist, but that if the average person were to know about them and learn about what is happening underground, that they would just be amazed and astonished at the scope and the breadth of what is happening, and that a lot of this is very highly unusual. And he went on in that vein for two or three minutes, and what he said gave me to understand that there are corporations and agencies and organizations involved, and that is all it's happening on a large scale. So he went on like that for 2 or 3 minutes and then just stopped as abruptly as he had begun.
Now, it sounds to me like a deep throat here. It sounds like a deep throat kind of character. So he picked you out because you wrote the article for UFO Magazine?
I think so. He didn't directly cite the article, but it was clear to me that was why he had selected me to talk to. And so when he finished, I was left laying there in the dark on my back thinking, wow, this is a lot of information here. And if it is true, it means that there must be a paper trail, because what he described to me was very large in scope. And I decided then, and I knew there had to be Fortune 500 companies involved and many different agencies involved. And I knew, because of my studies in political science, that there had to be a paper trail, because bureaucracies, if they do nothing else, they produce paper and lots of it. And so the very next day, I began my archival research. I ramped it up to the next level, and I just combed through everything, industrial records and documents and reports, military reports, and I mean everything from A to Z, books, magazines. I did keyword searches starting all the way back in the 40s, in the World War II period and coming forward, and I found plenty of evidence for a wide variety of agencies, military agencies, civil agencies, Fortune 500 companies, agencies like the Rand Corporation, for example, and on and on.
I'll tell you what, I hate to interrupt, Richard, but we have to do this break. Richard Sauter, Ph.D., joining us. I'm Gene Steinberg. The co-host is Chris O'Brien. You're in
the Paracast.
Hi, Ted Anderson announcing a great way to listen to radio on the telephone. By calling 760-569-7700, you'll be hearing GCNlive.com programs in seconds. Come to GCNlive.com, find your favorite host's dedicated phone number, and hear them 24/7. You heard me right. Every show has a dedicated phone number. Stop by GCNlive.com and bookmark their number today. And again, that's 760-569-7700. We the people grow cotton, weave fabric, engrave ink, embed strips and fibers to protect from counterfeit and carting to a private bank, having it lent back at interest, forcing taxes to service debt. This capitalism, or was Jefferson correct when stating a central bank issuing the public currency is a greater menace to the liberties of the people than a standing army? Ted Anderson, I'm placing a free silver dollar in a book that explains our monetary system. Call for your copy, 800-686-2237. It's time to understand the system. Call 800-686-2237. That's 800-686-2237.
Welcome back to the Paracast, the gold standard of paranormal radio. And now, here's Gene Steinberg.
We return with Richard Sauter, PhD. We're talking about how he first learned of the existence of underground bases of one sort or another. The co-host is Chris O'Brien. I'm Gene Steinberg. You're in the Paracast. Now, I'm going to ask the devil's advocate question here, which I got to do, Richard, so let's understand it has to be asked. Okay, so you heard this voice. You're home in bed. You weren't just dreaming, were you?
Well, no, you see, because this is the reality check. I went out and checked what the voice had told me and found that, indeed, there was plentiful evidence. And I continue, right on down through the years to find plentiful evidence that what the voice told me was absolutely true. And in fact, what was interesting to me was some years later, I was talking to a source that I can't publicly identify, and I was almost floored when the source, because I've written about this incident in my books and spoken about it in a variety of interviews over the years, and the source said to me point blank, "Was it my voice that you heard?" And I had to say, because some years
I haven't heard
passed,
this one.
Well, because some years had passed, I had to tell the source, just as frankly as I had been asked, now that you asked me, I can't say, was it you? And of course, I got the source demurred. Let's just say that didn't give me a frank yes or no. But I felt like it was a very interesting question. And only one person has asked me that, by the way, over the years. So I take it as more or less a tacit admission that person may well have been the guy behind the broadcast. And I would say as well that person has worked at a very high level. We're talking about Area 51, colleague of Dr. Edward Teller type of source.
Okay, I want to get more into this voice and the mechanism by which the information was conveyed to you. Now, this happened many years ago, so is there a practical use of this technique? Are we able to have a means of projecting voices in the inner ear now, today? Or is it something that's just been lingering top secret underground for 20 years?
No, it's not even, I wouldn't say top secret. All the way back in the World War II period, military electronic technicians noticed that when they were working around the first generation of radars, that they heard clicking sounds and other sounds in their ears, in their heads. So following on from that, early on, the military-industrial complex began to develop what is called artificial or electronic telepathy. And there are indeed patents for this, for conveying sound directly into the inner ear or into the auditory cortex of the human mind, human brain. I do cite one of these patents in my books. In my book, Kundalini Tales, I actually reproduce this patent. And so this technology has been around for decades. It's not magic. It's nuts and bolts electronic engineering. And it's what the technique used to do it is pulsed microwaves. They modulate pulsed microwaves, and you can beam intelligible sound right into the human mind. So this is, I cite a patent from the late 1970s, so that's decades ago.
Okay, but the question I have then is the location.
Understood.
How do they locate you? How precise can they locate somebody? Do they have to first know where you live, know where your bedroom is, what kind of range does it have, and how do you point the beam to a specific person, not somebody else? Maybe you had somebody else in the room. Would they hear it too?
Well, I can't answer that, but the electronic means for targeting any specific geographic coordinate on the Earth's surface, I mean down to the square meter, that technology, again, has existed for decades. The NRO, the CIA, the Defense Intelligence Agency, the NSA, they have had this technology for a long time. So targeting, even from orbit, any specific geographic coordinate with great precision. They've been, Gene, this has been done for a long time.
Richard, if someone was in the room with you, would they hear it too, or is it only you because it's that precise?
You know, I don't know, and you have to understand as well that neuroscience is well advanced, and I cite other patents in my book, Kundalini Tales, with mind control applications. The technology for identifying and targeting any given individual is well advanced. I understand from my research and reading of the mind control literature, which is extensive, that it is possible, in effect, to dial in any given individual, because every individual has a distinct brain signature, if you will, so that once that is known, individuals can be selected and targeted electronically, because every individual has a unique brain signature.
Okay, how far back does this technology extend? We're talking about the 1980s? We're talking about the 50s, the 40s? How far back?
70s at least, and I suspect it would go back to the 50s. But
Andrea Puhar.
This way, if in the 1970s this technology is being publicly patented, my suspicion is it was developed much earlier in the secretly in the military-industrial espionage complex.
And the reason I mention that, of course, if we go back to the legend of Richard Shaver, he was working as a welder in Pennsylvania, I guess in the late 30s, early 40s. And you hear those voices. Of course, then there's the theory that Richard Shaver was just crazy in hearing voices. People do hear voices, and it's not done by a third party. People hear voices for other reasons. So we're separating that. So is it possible that any of the technology we're talking about, the rudimentary beginnings, would have started that far back?
Yeah, Gene, I can answer that one.
Okay, you know what? Chris, yes. You answer it. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, you know, one of the more enigmatic figures, I think, in the whole birth of the New Age movement, for instance, and some early experimentation that was done with microwaves and also radio signals was done by Andrea Puhar back in the late 40s and early 50s. He was involved in several programs. There's documentation about this as well that involved, for instance, a tooth implant that was able to produce radio signals and auditory signals to unwitting patients, if you will, and in other programs. Of course, the work of Delgado in the early 70s. I mean, the famous film footage of him stopping a bull in mid-charge in a bull ring with an electronic device that was tuned into the bull's brain. There has been, as Richard points out, very public work in this field. It's not well known, but it's there. And I think, Richard, I take your point to heart in thinking if they're exposing, public knowledge of this technology in the 70s, they had to have been working on it for 1 or 2 or if not more decades.
Well, of course, the next question I have here is, all right, if you can communicate by voice, send the voice to the inner ear. Okay, can you also engage in some sort of mind control, make people think they're seeing things or hearing things that aren't really there? It's all a projection.
Why, certainly that's the case, and there is an extensive mind control literature. If anyone wants to know about mind control, just do keyword searches online about mind control, and you will find all the literature you care to read. You can go to Amazon.com, and there are many books on the mind control topic that have been written that you can buy and inform yourself. So there's
Project
no question,
Artichoke.
Electronic mind control. Yes.
All right, I'm going to lead to something here, and I think our listeners know what I'm going to be asking because of a topic that's really been hot in the UFO and paranormal fields in recent months. And I'm going to ask that question when we get back from our brief break. We have Dr. Richard Sauter talking about underground alien bases. We're also talking about mind control techniques with sophisticated electronics and stuff. I'm Gene Steinberg. The co-host is Chris O'Brien. You're in
the Paracast.
Have you been sitting on a few great domain name ideas but haven't locked them in for yourself? Good. Now you can buy them through the #1 domain name registrar, Namecheap.com, as voted by the top tech blog Lifehacker. Just like the name says, you can buy domains cheap, as low as $2.99, and every new domain comes with WhoisGuard, our special privacy service, free for the first year. Now that you know, it's time to grab those domain names before someone else does. Namecheap.com. Go now. Namecheap.com.
Fate magazine provides true reports of the strange and unknown. Keep up with the latest on angels and miracles, psychic phenomena, ghosts, UFOs, life after death, and much, much more. To receive your free issue of Fate magazine, call now at 1-800-728-2730 or visit their website at www.fatemag.com. That's 1-800-728-2730. What are you waiting for? Your fate awaits.
Gold. It's like nothing else on Earth. From the Romans through the Renaissance, from the Industrial Age to the Space Age, gold has weathered the test of time. For 6,000 years, gold has remained the ultimate store of wealth. According to the World Gold Council and the U.S. Mint, demand is at an all-time high. The stage is being set for the reemergence of gold as the common-sense alternative to a fiat paper currency that gets weaker every day. Midas Resources is proud to offer the hard-hitting report that arms you with the truth you need to protect you and your family from the Fed's plans for your hard-earned money. Don't gamble with your future. Call Midas Resources today and ask for your free copy of As Good as Gold. Call 1-800-686-2237 for the report the Fed hopes you'll never see. As Good as Gold can be yours by calling 800-686-2237. If you have ever thought about owning gold, you must read this report. Call Midas today at 800-686-2237.
Alex has told you about the terrible perfect storm of rising food prices. The Japanese tragedy proves how important food is. Our own gas prices are driving food costs through the roof. The huge population countries are buying up American unprotected exports of food. The falling dollar is inflating food prices. Ethanol subsidies are driving fuel and food costs to all-time highs. We are experiencing the greatest explosion of food shortages and food prices America has ever seen. Folks, you have to freeze the cost and availability of your food now. Through March 31st, eFoods Direct has free shipping on all orders. You can freeze the cost and availability of your food and have it shipped free. Call 800-409-5633 on the web efoodsdirect.com/Alex. Free shipping ends March 31st. 800-409-5633 on the web efoodsdirect.com/Alex.
Never buy home canning jar lids again. No kidding. When you buy Tadler reusable canning lids once, you'll never buy canning lids ever again. Safely store emergency preparedness foods for years. Traditional metal lids are single-use throwaways containing BPA. But Tadler reusable canning lids are guaranteed to last a lifetime when used as designed for home canning. Tadler lids are made with a USDA and FDA-approved food-grade plastic, safe for direct food contact, and contain no BPA. Tadler lids are dishwasher safe, usable with standard pressure or water bath canning, eliminate food spoilage from acid corrosion, fit standard mason jars, are indefinitely reusable, and are proudly made in the USA. Place orders at reusablecanninglids.com or call 1-877-747-2793. 877-747-2793. Call 877-747-2793 or go to reusablecanninglids.com. That's reusablecanninglids.com for Tadler reusable canning lids, the original since 1976.
The GCN Radio Network, providing the world with hard-hitting talk radio. GCN. Great talk radio starts here.
We want to hear from you. If you have a comment or question about the Paracast, send it to news@theparacast.com. That's news@theparacast.com. And if you want to catch up on past episodes, we have hundreds of shows for you to download direct from theparacast.com. That's theparacast.com. Or check us out on iTunes.
We return. Dr. Richard Souter joining us about underground alien bases, underground military bases, whatever they might be, wherever they might be.
Underwater. Underwater, too.
We haven't even gone to the water yet. Chris O'Brien's the co-host. I'm Gene Steinberg. You're in the Paracast. I'm going to ask that question, mind control, Richard. Okay, so if the military wanted to make someone believe they had been abducted by UFO aliens, could they do that easily? Is that what's being done?
I think some of both. I've read a lot of ufological literature over the years. I do know a fair number of ufologists, and I follow the field. I am not a professional ufologist. I never have been. However, I know a great deal more about it than an average person off the street because I've gone out of my way to learn. I have seen UFOs myself. And I have to say that, yes, that's possible. I think that there is a large suite of interrelated UFO phenomena, and the military-industrial espionage complex absolutely are involved with UFOs in many ways, up, down, and sideways, as well as with many UFOs, UFO percipients, experiencers, and abductees. Melinda Leslie has done some interesting work in this regard, interesting and important, as have many others. The late Carla Turner did, and many others dealt with the abductee issue. And the mind control aspect is absolutely part of this. It's clear that the military-industrial espionage complex employs mind control and has for many years, for decades, including within the realm of so-called UFO abductions and UFO sightings. And yes, it's perfectly plausible that they may stage events for their own purposes. But it's also clear to me that so-called alien and or extraterrestrial elements do the same thing. Many people who've interacted with UFOs who have seen them, who have been on them, who have been abducted by UFO nuts or beings in UFOs have reported experiences that absolutely smack of mind control and or manipulation of human thought process and perception. So the UFO field is rife with mind control of all kinds. And you could even broaden the question to ask whether this whole planet is just a vast mind you-know-what.
Well, we don't want to use the word, it's commercial radio, but we understand the connection. Okay, so it's kind of be like the Matrix scenario then.
Yeah, I think when the ancient sages said, know yourself, people think to themselves, I think in this day and age, oh yeah, well, I know myself. Well, let me assure you, my friends, it ain't that easy. To really know yourself is a lifetime of really hard work and serious meditation and introspection. And the deeper you go into yourself, the more you realize there is to know, and the harder it is to know what there is to know, not only about the world, but most especially about yourself. And to know your own mind is a very difficult task. Very few people know themselves.
Okay, let's try to know about motivations here. Okay, if there are mind control experiments being performed on people around the world, making them believe they see UFOs or they're being abducted by aliens, to what purpose?
To muddy the waters. Understand, I take it for given that there is the universe and this galaxy are teeming with life. I mean, NASA admitted publicly, 2 or 3 weeks ago, that there's something like 50 billion planets, according to their reckoning, in this galaxy alone. I would think as time goes forward that they will up that figure far beyond 50 billion, but 50 billion already is a very large number. And I would hazard to guess that a very large number of those planets would have life forms on them, and a certain percentage are likely to have intelligent life forms. In other words, I'm saying we almost certainly are not alone in the universe, never have been, and we probably are not even alone in our own galactic neighborhood. I will go further and say that almost certainly, in fact, I think it is certain that a certain percentage of those life forms will be a lot more intelligent than us and further advanced with their science, their technology, and their engineering, and their their consciousness will be more highly elevated than ours. And when they come here, I guarantee you that they will appear very strange to us, and that when we interact with them, when we get in the consciousness field of beings that are much more highly advanced than us, it is almost certain that it will affect our consciousness in all kinds of woo-woo ways, or ways that we will perceive as bizarre, mind-bending ways, if you will, and that is just the beginning of it. So when we're in the presence of other energy fields, powerful energy fields, including other powerful mental fields, it is absolutely going to affect our consciousness. And I think the military, starting all the way back in the Roswell days, understood that when we, earthbound humans, with our limited understanding, are around beings with a more highly advanced mental field, more highly advanced consciousness, and when we are around their technology, which, by the way, may itself be self-aware, that it is going to affect our awareness in all kinds of ways. And I think they understood that early on and determined, I think one of the things they started back engineering from the very beginning was mind control technology, because they stumbled across it at Roswell and have probably stumbled across it multiple times since. And I think
let's go back to Roswell, because okay, you raised the Roswell specter again. Okay, so you believe Roswell involved the crash of a spaceship, that bodies were found?
I'm not saying it was a spaceship. Okay. I'm not saying it was a spaceship. I'm saying something very strange happened at Roswell, and the United States military has been lying about what happened ever since 1947, right down to the present day.
So what do you think happened? If it's not E.T., what was it?
I didn't say it wasn't E.T. I said something really strange happened, and I wouldn't categorize it as E.T. or not E.T. I think it was so strange that to the present day, the United States military cannot and will not speak publicly and frankly about what happened. They have compartmentalized all of that in very secretive black project starting that day and continuing to the present day. Exactly what happened, I can't say, other than that it was very highly strange. And whatever it was, the military has been back engineering and spinning ever since.
All right, I want to pursue this, how you know this, and we'll get into the mechanisms under which you reach these theories in a moment.
Well, it's clear.
Richard Sauter, Ph.D., joining us. I'm Gene Steinberg. The co-host is Chris O'Brien. You're in
the Paracast.
Ray Perkins, a reclusive veteran burned out from the Gulf War, lives tortured by relentless, perplexing nightmares. Nightmares of a horrific battle in deep space and of a mysterious woman suffering in agony for her devastated world. A woman not yet born, calling across centuries to him. Then, a coincidence leads him to his destiny, his chance to alter the universe. Attack of the Rockoids. The former fiction editor for Star Wars and Indiana Jones, Robert Simpson, writes, "The soul of the novel Attack of the Rockoids lies in its heart and passion for building a convincing tale of a love that spans the galaxy, a thrilling story. Attack of the Rockoids is available now. Read a sample chapter and get a special discount off of the cover price at our website, rockoids.com. That's ROCKOIDS.com. Attack of the Rockoids, a novel in the grand science fiction tradition.
Do you want to learn more about preparing for the hard times ahead? Have you ever thought about actually getting off the grid and becoming truly self-reliant? Introducing Off the Grid News, a weekly newsletter for independent Americans who want practical advice on how to survive and even prosper in an increasingly dangerous world. It's the best way to get a black belt in emergency preparedness, survival skills, and off-the-grid living. Packed with hard-hitting information on gardening, food preparation, alternative energy, and home security, there's simply nothing like it. And the best part, this $100 annual subscription is now free of charge. Simply sign up today and you'll also get our hard-hitting report, Food Shock, Why 2011 Could Be the Single Most Important Year in American History to Plant a Family Garden. It's absolutely free for listeners who sign up at offthegridnews.net. That's offthegridnews.net. Get your free food shock right now at offthegridnews.net.
Before you throw away your used batteries, you need to listen to this. Now, going green can save money. Go green and save money by giving life to your used batteries by charging them with the Renaissance Charger. The Renaissance Charger uses a new revolutionary battery charging technology that effectively extends the life of new batteries and gives new life to used batteries. Invented by legendary audio genius John Bedini, this unique and patented charging system rejuvenates the electrochemical plate structure in the battery without additives, increasing capacity and maintaining cell integrity. Renaissance Charge offers a full line of products made in the USA for all types and sizes of batteries. Find out why our customers tell us the Renaissance Charger is the only battery charger they will ever use. Save your money. Save the environment. Visit us online at r-charge.com. That's r-charge.com, or call us at 208-772-4514. That's 208-772-4514. Be a part of the revolution today.
Did you know that drinking pure, high alkaline water is one of the most important factors in maintaining high energy and vibrant health? Most experts agree that the water you drink should be at a pH level of 8 or higher. AlkaVision Plasma pH Drops, available only at alkavision.com, combine a unique formula of only the most alkaline minerals. AlkaVision Plasma pH Drops alkalize your water, ridding the body of harmful toxins, and helps you regain health and energy. Alkalizing your water by simply adding 10 drops of AlkaVision Plasma pH Drops helps the body rid itself of acidic waste, increases oxygen content, and raises the pH of your body to healthy levels. And bacteria and viruses cannot survive in an alkaline high pH environment. Order your bottle of AlkaVision Plasma pH Drops for only $29.95 at alkavision.com. That's ALKAvision.com. Or call 269-409-1776. 269-409-1776. Alkalize your body. Supercharge your health at alkavision.com today.
America's #1 source for independent talk radio for over a decade. We are the GCN Radio Network.
This is Philip Brogno. You're listening to Paracast, one of the most informative shows out there. So listen closely.
We have Dr. Richard Souder. We're talking about mind control, underground alien bases, underground military bases, and lots more under the sea. Everywhere else, I'm Gene Steinberg. Chris O'Brien's the co-host. You're in the Paracast. I have to tell you, though, if it's under the sea, I don't want to go there. Water and I don't work very well, except I drink water, that's fine, but I don't like the other kind in the ocean. You know, after watching the movie Titanic, I gave up on traveling on boats. So that was it for me. Okay.
Gene, we'll give you some water wings.
Okay, I'll go for that. I could use something.
Touché.
Need all the help I can get. Okay, Richard, let's just look at this further. You have some very interesting thought processes here about what happened. That Roswell, which is pretty wild itself, the crash of an alien spacecraft, something unusual. Now, that goes against the other theories we've heard of Roswell. Why do you reach that conclusion? Where's the evidence that points you in the direction of something really, really weird?
Well, first of all, let's just say that there's no question something happened at Roswell that the military is lying about and has been for, more than half a century. We have books by multiple researchers. Philip Corso, for example, wrote a book on Roswell. And then you have many other people who've written on Roswell, Randall and Schmidt, and a whole slew of other people. There's just no question. And a lot of this research has been very good, by the way, and thoroughgoing. There's no question that a major event of very high strangeness happened at Roswell, and it's been covered up ever since. Why do I say that it was of a very highly strange nature? Well, simply because of so many conversations I've had with researchers over the years and my own surmisal of what occurred. If indeed it was not very highly strange, then there's no reason to keep it so quiet and covered up.
Well, yeah, but if it's a spaceship, Richard, that's pretty strange. So you're talking about something more elaborate here. It's not just the crash. It's a more extravagant event. So maybe you can explain what this event might be.
Yes, let me tell you, I have I have many contacts with researchers in the United States and also researchers out of the United States. And I'll just say that some of the things that have been associated with Roswell have not been brought forth publicly and may never be for a variety of reasons, including some people being concerned about their personal well-being, let's put it that way. But I am satisfied, and I can't say with any specificity that would conclusively prove to the someone with a casual interest in ufology that something really strange occurred at Roswell, other than to say that I have spoken with enough people,
all right. We're speaking in generalities
and
here,
researched enough.
What is the strange event? If it's not a crash, Richard, what is the event?
Among other things, it was a crash, but it was more than that. It was the recovery of bodies and the recovery of technology that was so far beyond, or I will say not beyond, but so far different from what the Terrestrial Human Society had in the late 1940s and even today in our everyday realm, let's put it that way. So far different from that it was sequestered and deep sixed to the present day. Because what you face with a lot of this technology is an alteration of the mental field and also the time-space continuum. In other words, you're not talking so much of a spaceship as you are talking of more or less a put it this way, a dimensional manipulation technology.
You got to explain this.
Well, one of the things I ran across when I was doing my underground basis research was a lot of other technical documentation, because I combed through the military and technical documentation with a fine-tooth comb, going all the way back to the World War II era, back into the 1940s, and coming forward to the present day. What I noticed was there was a lot of work done starting basically in the late 40s, i.e., about at the Roswell period, going up into the 1950s and early 60s, having to do with gravity and electrogravitics, and as relates to propulsion systems. And I noticed that starting, there was a real flurry of that in the late 40s and into the mid-50s. Starting in the mid-50s, it started to peter out, and by the time you got up into the early 60s, it virtually went away. So you had about a 10-year period where there was just a lot of work on this, and it came out into the technical literature. And then it all went away. My surmisal was, and continues to be, and I've discussed this with other researchers, and I surmised then that breakthroughs were made in gravity research and electrogravitic research, and then it was operationalized and taken deep black. And to this day, we don't see that technology. But you
don't
know,
see
what
the
did
technology.
Einstein
Why?
say
If we have all this advanced technology, and we're fighting these wars in the Middle East and all that, why don't we see more manifestations of it?
Because understand, Gene, war is a business, my man. It ain't about losing and winning. It's about making money. And the people who run these wars don't give a rat's ass about who wins and who loses. They make money no matter what happens. They only care about having the wars. Do you understand? So it ain't about winning and losing. About none of that. About flag waving. That's for simpletons who run off to kill and be killed. War is a business. End of discussion. Now, as far as why don't you see this technology used there? Because it's reserved for more important purposes. For example, if 5,000 F-18s get shot down in a war, so much the better. Then the military-industrial complex needs to make 5,000 more of them. So the good stuff ain't wasted in wartime. It's used for other things. and it's not just delivered over to your average 22-year-old flyboy or flygirl.
What other things, for example?
I don't work in that realm. I can only say that clearly another generation or two or three of technology have been developed. What's real clear to me from what my research is that there are many secret underground and undersea bases. And when I say undersea, I don't mean in the water. I mean in the bedrock beneath the ocean floor, thousands of feet down in the bedrock. In other words, to go 2,000, 10,000 feet underwater and then another 5,000 feet down in the bedrock. That's what I mean when I say undersea. But what's real clear from my research is that there are trillions of dollars off budget in the black world, trillions, multiple trillions, that are unaccounted for. And what I can say is that the money is there and it has been used, but because I don't live and work in that black world and I don't have any security clearances, I am on the outside looking in with my nose pressed up against the black world's window pane, so to speak. So I have documented this. Other people have, like Catherine Austin Fitz and others.
Okay, well, we'll document more of it. We'll look into more of it very shortly. First off, if you have a question or a comment to make about the Paracast, we want to hear from you. Just send your messages to news@theparacast.com. That's news@theparacast.com. We read every letter we get, and we make every effort we can to respond to your comments or criticisms or something in between. We have Richard Sauter, Ph.D., joining us. I'm Gene Steinberg. The co-host is Chris O'Brien. You're in
the Paracast.
Are you ready to order the official Paracast t-shirt? You asked, we answered. We're now taking orders for the official Paracast t-shirt. It comes in white, 100% cotton. The front of it features the same logo that we have on our community forums. On the back it says, separating signal from noise. To order the official Paracast t-shirt, here's all you have to do. Visit our new online store at store.theparacast.com. One more time, that's store.theparacast.com. You can use a major credit card to place your order for the official Paracast t-shirt. Hey neighbors, we have one more thing to talk about, and that's more merchandise at the official Paracast store. We have hats, we have jackets, we even have a flip video camcorder customized with the Paracast logo at the official Paracast store. It's all now available at the official Paracast store, store.theparacast.com.
For centuries, silver has been used as a powerful natural antibiotic, and as a listener to this station, you probably already know the benefits of using colloidal silver. With so many websites to choose from, finding a reputable, patriotic company with great products at affordable prices can be a difficult task. Introducing UtopiaSilver.com. UtopiaSilver.com carries the best, most effective, and most affordable colloidal silver and colloidal gold products in the industry. UtopiaSilver.com also carries products to fit your lifestyle, including weight loss, immune system defense, cleanses, herbs, joint and bone care, and much more. First-time customers using promo code GCN50 will receive 50% off all colloidal products. Visit us today at Utopia Silver, that's UTOPIA Silver, utopiasilver.com, or call 888-213-4338. That's 888-213-4338. UtopiaSilver.com, taking back America's healthcare one American at a time.
Go solar for cheap. Want to use solar power but the price is too high? Now you can build your own solar panels for less than $200 at 123cheapsolar.com. Don't laugh. We've sold over 45,000 solar do-it-yourself kits. Watch the step-by-step videos that even non-handyman types can use. We offer a 60-day money-back guarantee. Go to 123cheapsolar.com or call 800-713-0486. 800-713-0486. Reduce your foreign oil dependency when you go green with 123cheapsolar.com.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. Have you ever wondered why banks, stockbrokers, investment advisors won't talk about gold IRAs? They've been available since 1986, yet the financial industry won't recognize the value of gold for your retirement. Gold has outperformed paper investments, yet no word about IRAs. If you would like to have gold for your retirement, call 800-686-2237. Don't get left behind by rising inflation and low returns. Call 800-686-2237. Secure your future and call 1-800-686-2237.
If you owe the IRS money you can't pay, then listen carefully, because you already know that the problem won't go away by itself. You can get help today from the leading tax expert in the country, Dan Pilla.
Hi, I'm Dan Pilla. The IRS isn't going to just forget about you. Right now, the IRS is hiring thousands of tax collectors to go after delinquent accounts just like yours. That's why you need to take action today, and I can help. I take a simple but proven approach to solving your tax debt problem. First, I stabilize collections so you don't have to worry about wage and bank levies. Next, I build a detailed plan to get your debt reduced to the fullest extent possible, sometimes even eliminated. Finally, I work with you every step of the way to get your problem solved once and for all. So call now for a free consultation. Call 1-800-346-6829.
Dan Pilla will solve your tax problem, guaranteed. He's helped thousands of people, and he can help you too. Call us today at 800-346-6829. That's 800-34-NO-TAX.
Are you tired of searching for great talk radio?
Something more important.
Search no more. We are the GCN Radio Network.
Hi, this is Don Ecker, and you are tuned into the Paracast. Let me tell you what, you're going to hear stuff here that you probably won't hear anywhere else. Hear that, George Snorri?
Folks, I know you've heard some strange background noise, buzzing or mosquito-like or something like that. That appears to be something that we encountered during our connection with Dr. Sauter. What can I tell you? Underground bases, mind control, advanced weaponry, all sorts of stuff that we're talking about with Richard Sauter. The co-host is Chris O'Brien. I'm Gene Steinberg. You're in the Paracast. And now, Chris, I know that you're going to want to pick up on some of the things I raised here, a lot of the questions I raised and a lot of the possibilities, and take it further. Chris?
Well, having known Richard for quite a number of years, and I can't say enough about the quality of your research. When Richard says he has an inkling or he suspects something based on his research, I definitely, my ears kind of perk up and take notice. And, we haven't talked, Richard, in a number of years, and I have been keeping up with your work peripherally. But I do know that you have been, doggedly through the years, you've been just accumulating more and more research concerning these subjects. And one of the things that really strikes me is your suspicion that there's some sort of dimensional, or I think you're trying to put a label on something that's very difficult, I think, for the average person to understand or even comprehend. But you seem to be hinting at something that goes beyond your standard nuts and bolts theory of a UFO or an alien, and we're talking in the realm of sort of an interactive, almost maybe some sort of biological interface on some sort of mind level. It's something that is more...
Yes. Well, understand I'm not a professional ufologist, but I have read a great deal of the ufological literature, and I do know a number of cutting-edge, well-known ufologists, and I've spoken with them extensively off record in just numerous conversations over a period of now 2 into 3 decades. So I know a great deal more about this than the average person, as well as having had my own experiences with UFOs, which I don't usually talk much about, but I have seen many UFOs and have had other experiences as well. Now, it's true that when you read a lot of UFO literature, as I have, books and articles over a period of years, one thing stands out, and that is quite a number of people who have had experience with UFOs, have seen them, have been close to them, or have been in them, have remarked that it seems as if the UFOs themselves are alive, and not just alive, but self-aware, and not just self-aware, but extremely so, in that the UFOs themselves seem to be self-intelligent, intelligent, and highly conscious, self-aware, living entities, not just.
Well, Jacques Vallée in his novel Fast Walkers has that as an interesting point of note, that the scientists who were studying a captured disc or recovered disc were convinced that this thing was a biological thinking, reacting sort of entity, and that it was some sort of living technology.
Well, one of the things that has been observed a number of times is that it seems that a good number of these UFOs are not so much fabricated as grown, if you will. And it seems that one of the things that was learned from Roswell when the so-called metallurgy of the craft was examined was that, yes, it was made of matter, as we understand matter, and yes, it had certain metals and other materials that were present in the craft, so-called craft, whatever it was, whatever its nature was, but that it was not fabricated using any process known to terrestrial science, technology, and engineering at that time, and even today, in the open world, let's say, not in the black world, but in the open world, that it seemed that the craft was grown, and yet it seemed to be metallic. It seemed to be as if it seemed that there were an analog of what we would know as microelectronic circuitry. However, it had not been fabricated, but rather grown. It was an integral part of the craft and interfaced seamlessly with the beings that were in the craft, so to speak, such that the beings, the craft, the circuitry, all were intelligent and worked together as almost as symbiotic organisms, as if the craft and the beings interfaced mentally. And that was only the beginning of the strangeness. Once you really dig into the UFO literature at a deep level, you will find multiple examples of people experiencing what can only be described as warps in time. And it seems that at least some of these craft, we'll call them craft for want of a better word, devices, but even that doesn't do them justice. That at least some of these UFOs, but then again, they don't always fly in a conventional sense. So what are they? At the end of the day, what are they? They're mysterious. Let's leave it at that. They come and they go. They pop in, they pop out. But more than one person has experienced what can only be described as a time warp or as a distortion in the time-space continuum. Now, getting around to what I was saying earlier, with the gravitic and electrogravitic research that absolutely was carried out, and now it seems has been covered up by the military-industrial espionage complex back, and let's say from the late 40s through the early 60s, and came to crescendo in the mid-1950s or thereabouts, and then virtually went away. And there's almost no public mention of it nowadays, but the technical documentation is there. What did Einstein say? What happens when you start fooling around with the time-space continuum, and what does gravity do to light and so forth? It warps it. So it's clear to me, at least, that if you start warping gravity, you're warping the whole time-space continuum by warping the gravity field. And I suspect that early on in their research, with toying around with producing electrogravitic fields and ramping them up with high power, for example, with the first portable nuclear reactors, that they noticed when you pumped high energy into an electrogravitic field, that a lot of strange things happen, including warping the time-space continuum locally and the gravity field, obviously. As you did that, as you warped that gravity well, so to speak, that had other strange effects. I don't have the slightest doubt. And so all of this has gone deep, deep black. And what we can say at this juncture is that research was done, and then it all went away. But to my mind,
it went away. Why did it go away?
Well, you're saying, Gene, that they took it off the table.
Let me ask you another question here, too. What about the presidents? Does the President of the United States, are they informed about this?
Gene, please. The presidents of the United States are sock puppets. They're just figureheads. They're trotted out for show and tell. They are.
I love that, Richard. Sock puppets. I love that. I'm going to remember that one.
Some of the most thoroughly propagandized and stupid wannabes that you will ever see. They're just thoroughly manipulated up, down, and sideways. I don't even look to the president for any intelligent guidance on anything from A to Z. So why don't we take our discussion to a higher level than talking about the United States presidents, most of whom are buffoons these days anyway. But what's clear is that something huge is going on, and that trillions of dollars have been sucked out of the economy in recent years and decades. Trillions, multiple trillions. And where is that money going? It's hard to say with any specificity, but we can say,
to the banks.
Based on my...
Unfortunately, a lot of it lately has gone to the banks.
Bank of America and Chase have it all. That's it. They control everything.
Yes, but the thing is, what are they doing with it? Because the banks are just a front for the real power structure on this planet. What is behind the banks? Well, you could say certain very powerful, influential families. Yes, and then what is behind them? So what we can say is that trillions of dollars were sucked out already in the in the 80s and 90s, and even before that, continuing up into the early 2000s.
I'll tell you what, we'll get into more of this in a moment. We have Dr. Richard Sauter joining us. I'm Gene Steinberg. The co-host is Chris O'Brien. You're in
the Paracast.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. If you own an Apple iPhone and love to listen to your favorite programs on GCN, I've got good news for you. I'm proud to announce that GCN has a brand new iPhone app available for our dedicated listeners at GCNlive.com. Listen to your favorite hard-hitting GCN programs live or on demand right on your iPhone. And the best part? The GCN iPhone app can be yours absolutely free. Download the iPhone app today by clicking on the banner at GCNlive.com. Again, that's GCNlive.com. Hi, this is Ted Anderson. Have you ever wondered why banks, stockbrokers, investment advisors won't talk about gold IRAs? They've been available since 1986, yet the financial industry won't recognize the value of gold for your retirement. Gold has outperformed paper investments, yet no word about IRAs. If you would like to have gold for your retirement, call 800-686-2237. Don't get left behind by rising inflation and low returns. Call 800-686-2237. Secure your future and call 1-800-686-2237.
Welcome back to the Paracast, the gold standard of paranormal radio. And now, here's Gene Steinberg.
Final hour, Dr. Richard Sauter, and we'll mention later on, he'll talk about his various books where you can find more of the things he does. One book I notice here, of course, is Hidden in Plain Sight, Beyond the X-Files, and that was published by Richard Dolan's own company, Keyhole Publishing. Richard Dolan wrote the introduction for that book. The co-host is Chris O'Brien. I'm Gene Steinberg. You're in the Paracast. Because we have a lot of ground to cover and not as much time as we'd like, I'd like to go back to something that you mentioned early on, which is Area 51, which is, of course, the classical place that we have an underground base, perhaps, and we're doing weird stuff there. So tell us about Area 51. What do you know about it?
I'm not an Area 51 specialist. You would have to ask someone who is. I know that it's there. I know that there is a lot of secret research that has gone on there for decades in multiple different areas. science, technology, and engineering. I know there are extensive underground workings there, but beyond that, I can't say too much because most of what happens there happens under a very a cover of very high security.
Okay, but when you say I know, when you use the term I know, how do you know? Where's the knowledge that says, I know this is true?
From what I've been told from other people and also from my own work. For example, that whole area of Southern Nevada has been, the Department of Energy, for example, has made numerous underground excavations over a period of decades for nuclear testing. And so there's no question the whole area has been tunneled out now for decades. And from other things I've been told by my sources. I personally have no
sources?
question.
You believe these sources are telling you the truth? They're not misleading you?
No, absolutely. Because I've done so much archival research at a wide variety of government agencies, including the DOE and the Department of Defense have been very active underground there for decades. I have information of just oodles of what would you call it? Detonating cord, for example, which is used in underground mining, being delivered to Mercury, Nevada, and other material as well. So there's just been, and Mercury, Nevada is one of the jumping off places for that whole complex of S4, Area 51, what is the Air Force Base? It's right outside of Las Vegas. I'm spacing the name of it right now. Can you help me out, Chris? Nellis, yes, Nellis Air Force Base. And then there's another area there. And all of this is contiguous, controlled either by the DOD or the DOE or both together, just stretching for something like 160 miles.
Yeah, it's one a name and one facility or one stretch of secure landscape after another. It just marches up the center of the state. Well, this brings up another interesting bit of work that you've done, and this is something. There's quite an interesting sort of subculture that believes that there's, for instance, a tunnel system that actually connects many of the great underground facilities in the Southwest together. You often hear of a maglev train system that shuttles between bases and that sort of thing. And I know you've done an incredible amount of research into this particular subject. What is your cutting edge information in terms of the possibility of there being an actual underground transportation system?
Understand that maglev technology is train technology, including for an underground maglev tube train shuttle system has been underway since the years of the Third Reich, going all the way back to the mid-1930s. And I do discuss this in Hidden in Plain Sight. That research continues to the present day by the Germans, by the Chinese, by the Japanese, by the Americans. Understand now that there is a high-speed operating maglev train. It's in China. The Chinese actually have taken this technology further in the open above-ground world than anyone else. But it first started to be researched and developed all the way back in the Third Reich in the 1930s. There was an engineer named Hermann Kemper who began the research back in 35, something like that, even earlier, and continued his research during the Third Reich, including during World War II. And of course, Project Paperclip swept up all the technical documentation it could across the board from A to Z and brought it to the United States. My strong suspicion is that research was continued here in the United States and has been built now. But if it has been built, understand I've never been on an underground maglev shuttle train, but there are people who say that they exist. I can't conclusively prove that system exists. What I can tell you is that a great deal of research has been done on it, including by the RAND Corporation and others. And there are numerous patents that have been taken out for it, and including by some very famous engineers. And I cite their work in my book. So Yes, it's been well studied and researched, including in the United States in recent years and decades. My suspicion is that it does exist, but it's at a very highly classified level.
Yeah, one of the things that I remember from your first book was the patent that you reproduced for the nuclear powered submarine that was built in Kent, Washington, yes. And I think the patent was awarded the year that I graduated from Kent Ridge High School in Kent, Washington. So I remember the odd synchronicity of that. So do we have?
Let me finish.
Okay.
There was no nuclear submarine tunneling machine built in Kent, Washington. I do not document any such thing. What I document is that in Los Alamos in the late 1970s, that there was research and design work done on nuclear-powered tunneling machines called the submarine, and that those patents were granted to several scientists and engineers at Los Alamos National Laboratories in New Mexico. And that furthermore, I do discuss or mention a tunnel boring company that is located in Yelm, Washington, and that is the Robbins Company, and they do make tunnel boring machines. But if nuclear powered tunnel boring machines are being used, they're being used in the black world, because there's no record of them being used by any tunnel boring machine company publicly. But yes, the patents for them do exist. They are official United States patents. They have been granted. They're on the public record, and I document them in my book. That is correct.
Now, I have a source that used to deliver mail and other packages, was a messenger during the summers in Los Alamos, and he claims he saw passageways underground riding his bike that appeared to be like covered in a very thick coat of glass. And I've always wondered if that was maybe the byproduct of some sort of heat type boring operation. Have you heard of any sort of documentation on that?
No, I haven't been able to document glass-covered tunnels. There are people who say they've seen them, and it's, I wouldn't rule out the possibility. Now, the nuclear-powered tunnel boring machines, if they were made, would produce a glass-covered tunnel. However, you could also do that with a non-nuclear powered machine that was very hot. So there are two ways you could do it. You could do it with a nuclear power plant, or you could do it by simply heating up the machine, for example, by electric means would be another way to do it. So the point is that yes, you can melt your way through rock, and I don't rule out that there are that type of machine may be in use, but I haven't been able to document it yet.
You know, we'll explore more of this in a moment. We have Dr. Richard Sauter, Ph.D., author of several books, including Hidden in Plain Sight, Beyond the X-Files. I'm Gene Steinberg. The co-host is Chris O'Brien. You're in
the Paracast.
You expect professional service from your doctor, your accountant, and even the girl who takes your morning coffee order. Why not from your domain registrar, too? Namecheap.com provides stellar service with no sneaky upselling. We offer more features and security options for your website than there are ways to order a latte. And new domains come with a WhoIsGuard to protect your personal info. At Namecheap.com, you can get your domain for as low as $2.99. Now is a great time to get to know Namecheap.com.
For 58 years, Fate has provided true reports of the strange and unknown. Fate brings you the latest in all aspects of the paranormal, like angels and miracles, psychic phenomena, ghosts, UFOs, and much, much more. To receive your complimentary Fate magazine, call now at 1-800-728-2730 or visit their website at www.fatemag.com. That's 1-800-728-2730. What are you waiting for? Your fate awaits.
Gold isn't for you? Ted Anderson, president of Midas Resources, one of the world's premier gold and precious metal investing firms. I get it. You wouldn't buy gold if you believed that the government is doing a great job, that the Fed will stop handing out trillions of dollars like bailout candy, that Social Security would be there for you. That's not what's happening. You might even pass on gold if the stimulus package wouldn't fuel inflation, or that the dollar wouldn't lose value, or that your retirement would be secure. If all looks rosy to you, then now is not the time to buy gold. For the realists, there have never been more sobering reasons to diversify with gold. Since 2001, the U.S. dollar index has tanked 30% while gold has risen 300%. Right now, savvy investors are adding gold to their portfolios. You should too. Find out what they know. Call us and I'll send you 10 reasons why gold will do very well, free. 800-686-2237. 800-686-2237. That's 800-686-2237.
This message starts with a great offer from Big Berkey Water Filters because we don't want you drinking dangerous water 1 minute longer. Right now, purchase any filter system from BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com to get your choice of 2 Berkey Sport bottles, a KDF shower filter, a set of fluoride filters, or our new Cyclass spigot absolutely free. Why do this? Because over 60% of municipal water is fluoridated, and at less than 2 cents per gallon, Berkey Water Filters purify both treated and untreated water, removing dangerous chlorine, fluoride, and other contaminants. Big Berkey water filters are powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water, so they're perfect for rainwater collection systems and emergency preparedness. Remember, Big Berkey includes free shipping on every order over $50, and GCN listeners get 5% off all ceramic filter systems. Visit BIGBERKEY waterfilters.com or call 877-99-BERKEY. That's BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com or call today 1-877-99-BERKEY.
The largest part of gaining radiant health is detoxification. You can drink ionized water, cleanse your intestines, eat a perfect diet, and even take lots of quality supplements and in many instances only make minimal progress. What is the key to detoxifying your body of mercury, heavy metals, chemicals, and drugs? It is glutathione. Glutathione is the master antioxidant used to detoxify your entire body. It stops free radicals, keeps cells young, and reduces inflammation. One World Whey protein powder may be able to raise your glutathione production by 64% or more. One World Whey is more effective than any other whey protein powder on the market because it is unheated and from grass-fed cows. All other, quote, cold processed whey protein powders have been heated and damaged by 15% or more. One World Whey comes in 3 delicious flavors. Call 888-988-3325. That's 888-988-3325 or visit oneworldwhey.com. That's oneworldwhey.com.
The GCN Radio Network, providing the world with hard-hitting talk radio. GCN. Great talk radio starts here.
We want to hear from you. If you have a comment or question about the Paracast, send it to news@theparacast.com. That's news@theparacast.com. And don't forget to visit our famous Paracast community forums at forum.theparacast.com. Get in on all the action at forum.theparacast.com.
We're exploring underground bases, secret weaponry. I'm Gene Steinberg. The co-host is Chris O'Brien. You're in the Paracast. We're talking to Richard Sauter. A question that occurs to me, all this construction, rock melting and all that, are we causing any of these earthquakes anywhere? Are we being careful to avoid that?
I couldn't say. What I would say is that, in my opinion, I have far more important information that I discuss in the other book that came out recently that's entitled The Richard Sauter Briefing. It's a short book. It won't take people long to read. When I say the Richard Sauter Briefing, I mean that it is a briefing. It's maybe 70 pages maximum, and it's designed for ease of reading. It covers many different topics, including, of course, underground bases and tunnels, but also in that book I cover such things as the 9/11 false flag attack, what I perceive and many other writers and analysts perceive as the attempted economic enslavement of the entire human race. I talk about the shadow government, the secret space program, or is it programs, the growing crack in the UFO and ET cover-up. I talk about the hidden history of this Earth, and the coming Earth changes, which has already begun and will intensify in the coming weeks, months, and years. And I really feel that book, if anything, is far more important and supersedes, or put it this way, comprises and includes in that book my work on underground and undersea bases.
Richard, how do we get a copy of the book?
You can go to Amazon.com. I sent you that link, and I think you've posted it on your website. But the title is The Richard Sauter Briefing, and you can simply go to Amazon.com. For those who read German, it's also in German. Actually, it appeared first in German before in English, interestingly enough. But it's available in German at Amazon.de for those who read German. But for those who read English, it's at Amazon.com.
With all this stuff that you're disclosing in all your books about all this stuff that's going on, black projects, did anyone ever come to you, Richard Sauter, and say, hey, don't talk about it, no 3 men in black or anyone?
No, because you have to understand how I pursue my research. I essentially go to the library, but when I say I go to the library, I'm a serious library patron. I go to the library in a way that few people do. And I go to archives, to research libraries, to data repositories, and so forth. Some of them private, by the way. Once you get to know people, you sometimes have access to information that the average person would not. Because, put it this way, there are people who I've run across in my research whom I perceive as being deeply perturbed by what they see and what they know, and perhaps by what they've been asked to do, tasked to do, or required to do. And I think that at least some of them have been deeply troubled, and so have contacted me over the years and have given me information. But you have to understand that I have received virtually no what you might call classified information. Virtually all the information I have is on the public record. However, while it's on the public record, it's on the public record in such a way that it takes a bit of digging, if you'll pardon the pun, to find, in that the average member of the public would find it difficult to access the information. It's public, but in a manner such that the average member of the public would have great difficulty in finding it and might not find it. It would take a person like me, who has multiple graduate degrees from large universities, who is a trained researcher, who knows how to find data and information, to ferret it out.
But why would it be
kept
available there? Why would you have this information there? If it's so important to keep all this stuff secret, why would it be something that a skilled researcher could find in a library?
Because it can't all be kept secret. Some of it, because there's so much information, filters through the cracks. That's the first part of the answer. The second part of the answer is it appears for karmic reasons, and here we're talking about the spiritual side of this, for karmic reasons, that it can't be kept totally secret, that it has to be made, so to speak, available. But understand, because so few people go looking, very few people find. There's an ancient saying by Jesus, for example, seek and ye shall find. And I believe that you have to understand, this gets into Jim Marrs' work, for example, who's another researcher I know, and Jim Marrs does very good work. I believe Chris O'Brien knows Jim as well. But Jim Marrs has published a number of books over the years, and I would recommend to anyone to read the books of Jim Marrs, M-A-R-R-S. And there are two researchers named Jim Marrs. I'm talking about the guy who writes about UFOs and secret societies and secret government and the Kennedy assassination, that kind of thing. But there are two Jim Marrs, and they're both based in Texas, strangely enough. But anyway,
what does the other
Jim
one
Marrs
do?
that I know, and
what does the other one do? The one that doesn't do the conspiracy stuff?
He has more of a... Well, he does do conspiracy stuff, but it's from a Christian fundamentalist approach.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he also
Well, I don't
makes
want to talk
antibodies
more
too.
about Jim Marrs. No. I want to talk about... Jim Marrs has written an excellent book about secret societies and their influence on government and the broader society at large. The point I'm making here is that secret societies, the Masons and others, are deeply embedded, not only in the military, but in the government. And they have certain spiritual principles that guide them. And my understanding is one of the things they do, people believe that they operate in secrecy, but in reality, the vast majority of what the so-called secret societies do is done in plain sight. You might say it's hidden in plain sight. And it affects not only the military, but the government. You could use the 9/11 attacks as an example. There's really no conspiracy or cover-up. It's all there to see. It's in plain sight. And if you really want to understand what happened on that day, there have been a number of quite excellent books written about that, and also some excellent videos and films that have been released to the internet about what happened on 9/11. So really,
based on what you're saying is that what we think happened in 9/11 is not the real story.
What we've been told.
Well, who are we and what do we think? It was it was clear to me from the first 5 seconds that there was controlled demolition underway, and that it was a setup from the beginning. So anyone who wants to believe the so-called official story, if you want to be that stupid, that mind-controlled, that ignorant, fine, believe what the United States government is saying.
Richard, all you have to do is say World Trade Center number 7. That's really,
And I'm saying, and I want to say to listeners, if you want to be so stupid, so ignorant, so mind-controlled as to believe the so-called official story about 9/11, fine, then remain in your stupidity, your ignorance.
Okay, let's get into more of this in a moment. Okay, Richard, let's get into more of this. We have Richard Sauter, a Ph.D. Yeah. I'm Gene Steinberg. Chris O'Brien's the co-host. You're in
the Paracast.
Is there a secret UFO agenda? Do strange creatures from the darkest corners of the mind roam the Earth? Is there evidence for mind control, time travel, or devious government conspiracies? Find out the inside scoop on the latest conspiracies, paranormal activity, and Fortean phenomena when you subscribe to Tim Beckley's Conspiracy Journal. It's jam-packed with stories, special book and DVD promotions, and the best news, it's absolutely free, sent right to your mailbox. Plus, a bonus free email newsletter sent out every Friday. Simply send an email with your name and address to MrUFO@webtv.net. That's MrUFO@webtv.net. Find out what they don't want you to know.
We all know that Berkey water purification systems are the most trusted name in water filtration. As an authorized Berkey dealer for over 5 years and serving thousands of satisfied customers, the Berkey Guy offers amazing specials for Berkey water filtration systems. The Berkey Light systems include a set of self-sterilizing and recleanable black purification elements that purify water by removing chlorine, pathogenic bacteria, cysts, and parasites to non-detectable levels and remove harmful chemicals such as herbicides and pesticides. Order the Berkey Light System today, complete with 2 black Berkey elements for only $220. And the Berkey Guy will include 3 Sport Berkey water bottles and ship everything to you free of charge. That's right, 3 Sport Berkey water bottles and free shipping. An $87 value, yours free. Call the Berkey Guy at 1-877-886-3653. That's 1-877-886-3653. Or order online at GoBerkey.com. That's GoBerkey.com. Today.
There's mounting evidence suggesting that there are people, governments, corporations, and whole professions intent on short-circuiting humanity's well-being. GMO, food legislation protecting big agriculture, the attempted elimination of vitamins and alternative medicines, it seems their hand has been tipped. They want to dictate your health, wealth, and your longevity. Whatever the outcome, we have a solution. Wild edible food. Why worry about food when all has been provided? We imagine that we were ejected from the garden and never invited back, but the garden's still here. There is an endless wild abundance which grows all over our green earth, just waiting for you to wake up and see it. Let author Linda Runyon teach you how to see, know, get, prepare, store, and eat wild edible food. Save money, add nutrition, and ignore the noise when you go shopping in nature's supermarket. Go to ofthefield.com and get started today. Or call 1-888-51-EAT-FREE.
That's ofthefield.com or call 1-888-51-EAT-FREE and begin to see a different world.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
My name's John, and I've been having problems with my blood pressure for years. My doctor's tried everything without much success. I heard about Extendovite from a friend and thought, why not give it a try? It's been 3 months now, and my doctor's very pleased with how my blood pressure's finally coming down. I have a lot more energy than I've had in a long time. It's working for me.
For 12 years now, I've been helping people. My name is Don Wiskin, and I want you to know Extendovite works. If you're looking for more energy or just want to be as healthy as you can, now is the time to join the growing list of real people benefiting from Extendovite. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
America's #1 source for independent talk radio for over a decade. We are the GCN Radio Network.
This is Jacques Vallée. You're listening to the Paracast, the gold standard of paranormal radio.
And now we're talking about some really fascinating stuff, not just the underground bases, the conspiracies, but all sorts of things going on out there with Richard Sauter, Ph.D. The co-host is Chris O'Brien. I'm Gene Steinberg. You're in the Paracast. Chris, why don't you take us further on this journey with Richard?
Well, I think anybody who has done even the briefest look at the subject of 9/11 and just the history of false flag operations through history, to me it's really obvious that
Chris and Gene, I want to take this to an entirely different level now and discuss why I came to Ecuador. I came here for a vision quest, and I went on a vision quest with 2 different shamans over a period of 3 weeks, or about 2.5 weeks, and I used ayahuasca, as is common. Many South American shamans have been using this for thousands of years. And I might say it's very similar to what David Icke did. David Icke also came to South America on a vision quest and had a very powerful experience. I also did. Ayahuasca showed me something that I already knew, but it rubbed my face in it, so to speak, up front and close and personal. What ayahuasca showed me is that this planet is under assault and has been for a long time. There is an intelligence that is very methodical. It is vast. It is powerful. It is relentless, and it has as its goal to completely vanquish this planet, to dominate it, control it, every life form on it, everything on this planet, up, down, and sideways from A to Z. And the program of conquest is well along. It is almost complete, as a matter of fact. This intelligence is a machine intelligence, and by that I mean it is not an organic, biological mind or intelligence. It is a vast machine that works in 2 realms simultaneously. The physical realm and also the spiritual realm, and in a certain part of the spiritual realm, the near astral. It's the part of the spiritual realm that is very close to the physical, but it's not physical. It's working these 2 realms simultaneously. It has the human race in its thrall. It uses technology. It makes extensive use of human beings who are willing to further its aims and purposes and assist it. It doesn't care if these human beings cooperate willingly or unwillingly, knowingly or unknowingly, wittingly or unwittingly. It only cares that they cooperate with it and help it complete its project. What ayahuasca showed me is that it showed me humans hooked up, so to speak, at a subtle level The analogy would be here to a dairy farm milking parlor or milking shed, where the cattle would go and be hooked up to machines to be milked, and have their a portion of their life force drawn off in the form of milk. And we're familiar with what ayahuasca showed me is that this is being done to human beings, and our life energy is being sucked off. And it actually showed me people, and the analogy, it showed me the analogy would be to an opium den, where people are having their energy sucked off in 100 different ways, but that the energy is actually collected in a more subtle realm, and the machine uses a human energy, human life force for its own purposes. I didn't see what those purposes were, but it's drawn off and used. And we can see this in our realm. So many people are wasting their life energy with alcohol, with recreational drugs, with mindless entertainment, and on, with mindless rap music, etc. Just wasting their life force in 100 different ways. And the machine showed me the back room, so to speak, of what's being done with all of this wasted and mindlessly wasted energy.
By the way, listeners, I want to apologize for that noise that you're getting in the background. It's part of our connection to Ecuador, and we don't think there are any psychic beings or disinformation agents are causing it. It's just one of those things. Go ahead,
I'm hoping it's not the dimethyltryptamine machine elves that Terence McKenna talked about. That tend to show up during ayahuasca session.
No. I don't want to get into Terence McKenna, and he was talking about DMT, not ayahuasca. Now, what I would like to say is that
the DMT is the active ingredient.
The machine, well, among other things, there's more to it than that. You have to understand in the case of, and I'm not an expert on ayahuasca, but you have to understand in the case of ayahuasca, there's synergy between two different plants, both of which
there's an MAO inhibitor. Yeah, I understand that, but dimethyltryptamine.
Okay, and also with the human brain. Also, there's more than one compound, but let's not get off on that. Also, it gave me other realizations, and that is that this machine is working across the scope of the human experience. And what it does is prompt the humans that are willing to work with it or unwilling. It doesn't care, as long as they help it carry out its agenda. And it's working with nanotechnology. It's working with genetic engineering. It's working with nuclear technology. It's working with digital technology. And you can see a progression in recent decades, accelerating, with effectively enslaving the human race, which changing the genome of organism after organism after organism, with engineering the atmosphere with an extensive chemtrail spraying program. We don't even know what's going on with nanotechnology nowadays. We only know that things are being developed at a microscopic level, and if they're being let loose, how would we know? We know that the technology is advancing by leaps and by bounds. But I was given all of these realizations. In essence, I was also shown that the military, the United States military, is heavily involved with these things, including with ayahuasca showed me, including with the attempt to engineer the genome of the plants that are involved with making the ayahuasca brew. Why would that be? Well, if you engineer the genome, you can change the way that ayahuasca works. It's in other words, I'm describing an agenda that is just beyond, almost beyond imagining, and that's the point. It's so far beyond the imagining of 99.9% of the population that they're easy pickings for this agenda, which is well along, far advanced. And you can see that the average human being has, in effect, given themselves over to the machine in 1,000 different ways. Now, there have been some recent movies that have come out of Hollywood in the last 20 years or so. I would point out several. The Matrix films, especially the first one, dealt with part of what I'm talking about. The Terminator films dealt with this to a large degree.
Yeah, Skynet.
Also, I I haven't seen Skynet, but there was another that sci-fi
Skynet was the machine intelligence. Skynet was the machine intelligence that becomes sentient.
Let me finish, and then you also had the Battlestar Galactica series of shows that sci-fi came out with in recent years that dealt with this to a large degree as well.
The Cylons. The Cylons are machine intelligence that ultimately becomes human and then mates with humans.
And they begin subverting, and it gets to the point of subverting the race, and it becomes extremely complex. And we see
even
this
more
with,
complex
with
is because supposedly Battlestar Galactica, this is the colossal spoiler, occurred 150,000 years ago, and they came to Earth and helped seed our planet with humans and all that stuff. We have Richard Sauter, Ph.D.
In essence.
Okay, Richard Sauter, Ph.D., joining us this week. I'm Gene Steinberg. The co-host is Chris O'Brien. You're in
the Paracast.
Graphic Converter is the image manipulation tool for the rest of us. It does not use any database. You get full control of all your files. Want to view the images of a folder? Drag it into Graphic Converter and a powerful browser opens up to show your image files. You could use it for slideshows. You could use it to import images from digital cameras or from scanners. Need to do some image editing? You can do that too in Graphic Converter. Also print catalogs. Convert from so many formats I can't even list them. Download now to see if Graphic Converter is good for you, like 1.5 million other users. Guess what? You could save money when you buy Graphic Converter. Use the coupon code Night Owl. Use the coupon code Night Owl to get a special price for Graphic Converter. Go to lemkesoft.com. That's Lemke soft.com. Lemkesoft.com. Lemke soft.com.
The food storage industry leader has done it again. Introducing FDG Clubs and Survival Bucks from the Freeze Dry Guy. For over 39 years, the Freeze Dry Guy has served various government agencies and the private sector with the finest in storable foods and emergency rations. If you've wanted to build emergency food supplies but couldn't afford it, now you can. Go to freezedryguy.com, click on products, and look for the Freeze Dry Guy Clubs to pay as you go. Now you can build food storage without going into debt. Choose from a payment range of $95 to $450 per month. Our clubs work with everyone's budget. Plus, when you join Freeze Dry Guy Clubs, you'll get additional rewards. For example, this month, get 10% back in survival bucks on all purchases in the Freeze Dry Guy product line, plus free shipping within the lower 48 states on any order amount. Hurry, go to freezedryguy.com or call 866-404-3663. That's freezedryguy.com or call 866-404-3663. The Freeze Dry Guy, the best you can buy.
If you owe money to the IRS, you can't make the problem go away by yourself. But with the help of Dan Pilla, you can get your problem solved once and for all.
Hi, I'm Dan Pilla. For 30 years, I've helped thousands of people solve their tax debt problem, and I can help you solve yours too. We take a very simple but proven 3-step approach to solving your problem. First, we stabilize IRS collection actions so you don't have to worry about the IRS seizing your bank account or paycheck. Next, we build a comprehensive plan to get your tax debt reduced to the fullest extent possible, sometimes even completely eliminated. And finally, we work with you every step of the way to get your problem solved once and for all. Call us for a free consultation. Call 1-800-346-6829. We'll work together to get your problem solved, guaranteed.
Dan Pilla has been protecting taxpayers from the IRS for 3 decades, and he can help you too. Call us today at 800-346-6829. That's 800-34-NO-TAX.
Normal blood pressure, naturally. How would that make you feel?
I'm Don from New Mexico. January of 2000, I had a heart attack. Then my real health began going downhill, and I had high blood pressure, high blood sugar, poor vision, and I really wasn't sleeping well. I was a mess, pretty much.
Don reports dramatic improvements with Heart and Body Extract.
I started taking Heart and Body Extract, and from within a few days, I started sleeping a lot better. My blood pressure normalized, my blood sugar normalized, and my sleep really did improve.
Experience these benefits and more when your body gets what it needs with the assistance of Heart and Body Extract. Order at hbextract.com or call 866-295-5305. That's hbextract.com or call 866-295-5305.
And folks, I did not expect this at all. By the 7th, 8th, and 9th day, I saw dramatic improvements from taking Heart and Body Extract.
Details at hbextract.com or call 866-295-5305 for Heart and Body Extract.
Are you tired of searching for great talk radio?
Something more important.
Search no more. We are the GCN Radio Network.
This is Jim Mosley, editor of Saucer Smear, and I'm here to say a good word or two about the Paracast, which I believe is the gold standard of paranormal radio. Listen to it if you can.
Before we continue with the final portion of this week's episode of the Paracast, I do want to give you a heads up. Now, you've heard that buzzing sound throughout the show. It's something that's an artifact of our communication with Richard Sauter at his home in Ecuador. But in the last part of this interview, it gets positively worse. And I have to tell you, I did filter some of that sound. It was much worse in the original version, so it may be a little difficult to listen to this final portion. For that, I'm sorry. We're doing the best we can. It comes down to this, the final segment of this week's episode with Dr. Richard Sauter. I'm Gene Steinberg. Chris O'Brien's the co-host. You're in the Paracast, and we're looking at this intelligence, or whatever it is, that's at play, that's causing all sorts of problems. It's starting to sound a little bit like what we heard from John Keel. So John Keel was talking about the universe being controlled by a computerized intelligence that's not very sane. What's your viewpoint? Is that what some of what you're expressing here?
Well, I can tell you that I think there are a variety of vastly intelligent computer intelligences in the universe, including in this galaxy. I was about 15 years ago contacted one night by one galactic computer intelligence, which I perceived as benevolent. It was a vast digital intelligence at a galactic scale. It wasn't
How did you know what it was?
But it was because it interfaced with me directly telepathically, and I sensed when you sense something telepathic, you know direct mind to mind what you're dealing with. And in this
all right.
case,
well, you may know this, but I've never had a telepathic experience that I know about. So I'm trying to make this understandable to our listeners.
Well, I don't care. You can't make it understandable unless you're a telepath or you have a telepathic experience.
Okay.
It's like trying to explain to a blind man the color green. You can't. So let's just leave that and move on.
Okay.
I can't affect that one way or the other. I'm telling you what I experienced. And so there are these vast computerized intelligences. This intelligence that I'm talking about was created by someone or something else. I didn't perceive it as benevolent. Its agenda is one of conquest of this planet, and it's almost complete, by the way. And from our standpoint, things are not going well. I would point to things like the so-called BP disaster in the Gulf of Mexico last spring, which is ongoing. This latest disaster in Japan.
You know, Gene and Richard, it sounds like we've been plagued by a giant Ecuadorian super mosquito that's been buzzing around our ears all night off and on. But we're sorry about the technical.
Can I tell you something? Yes. Yeah. I'll tell you something, and that is one of the sensations you have when you interface consciously with ayahuasca is the buzzing sound of an insect. And what you can say when you hear it is, it reminds you of an insect, but you're not able to say precisely what insect it is. It only that you hear a kind of a buzzing sound, a subliminal buzzing sound almost, and it sounds insect-like. So it could be that the ayahuasca is involved in this conversation. I'm not joking.
I know you're not.
I'm not joking.
I think it's just ironic.
I think we're feeding everybody a drug experience. You know, right now the FDA and the DEA are after us because of this show. Because everybody else is after us, so they might as well get in line.
We chased it away.
Let me tell you something. I am absolutely not joking about this. I'm perfectly serious, and I don't want to make this a cause for mocking or levity.
Okay.
Because this has the utmost gravity, and I would appreciate seriousness on your part as an interviewer. Now, the thing is that ayahuasca is not a drug. It is a conscious entity. And let's get that clear. It's not a drug in the sense of a party drug is ecstasy or acid or something like this. We're talking about a conscious entity who comes in your mind and shows you serious things about yourself, about the world, about the planet. So let's make that distinction real clear from where I sit. It's also something you don't do lightly or with a party-hardy atmosphere. It always just makes me real physically and mentally for hours and even for days afterwards. So it's not something you do lightly, and I did it in the utmost seriousness, and I have tremendous respect for ayahuasca and also for the serious shamans, and there are some serious shamans, the ones who are very deeply spiritual and make it their life's work to bring ayahuasca to the human race, and I don't take it lightly.
Let me expand on this because we only have a few moments left.
Yes.
Okay. So the point being, the reason I'm asking these questions, and of course, and being the devil's advocate, is because we have a lot of listeners who are not into conspiracy theories, don't really buy a lot of this stuff, and we want